My name is Neo Muyanga. I'm a composer, musician, and I spend all my time with these machines, these skins, and these pieces of metal and electricity to try and create some kind of harmonic series. The two pieces we're talking about today, the first I have titled Thina, the People. And the second is Treneskansia, which means train, don't leave me behind. Both of these came out of very long, extensive conversations with my friend, the Oga Dele Olujede, the founder of the festival Africa in the World, but also the conference, the entity Africa is in the World. And I was very inspired because the conceptual framework there is thinking through what role Africa has played in creating what we consider contemporary society. That's a huge question. I mean, to think about, firstly, how we were educated, about how we were the Johnny-come-latelys, or we were the leftovers, we were the forgotten in the world. And this conference really recuperates ways of thinking about ourselves that are much older than the contemporary structure. To tell a story of how we, as Africans, our ancestors were always engaged, always involved in making and formulating the modern world. And so I'm inspired by this. So the story I'm telling through these pieces, which were in direct response to participating in the first gathering in Stellenbosch, was just reflecting the voices I was hearing in the room and reflecting the threads of history that I imagine people come with when they arrive at a gathering like that. In Stellenbosch, which is not known as a place of the great African gathering, and yet that's really what happened. In the beginning, I wanted to say something that was quintessentially South African, because I wanted to speak from this vantage point. And so, because of who was gathered in the hall and because of the age spectrum, I wanted something that would relate to people who know Africa of the 1960s and 70s, but I also wanted to make, a reaching to people who are of the born-free generation, because those conversations wanted to come out in the construct. So I thought of this Mbaqanga beat. It's a Mbaqanga bass line. And so that for me really harks back to a bit of Marabi, a bit of jazz that comes from Sophia Town, but also bubblegum that comes from the 1980s. This became a refrain that I then found a groove. And the groove had kind of a West African feeling. And there was something about then Southern Africa coming together with West Africa in a conversation. I was really literally thinking who I was seeing in the room and something that they might groove to. I was thinking about dance music, I was thinking about palm wine music, and so this theme is something that you will hear reflected in what then becomes a very expanded thematic underscore. The previous piece I played, the title is Thina Sizwe, We the People. And that title really ties for me with an old song from the struggle days called Thina Sizwe in a very different way. Thina Sizwe, Isinyama sikhalela izwe lethu ilathathwa ngabamhlophe. Mabawuyeke umhlaba wethu. Mabawuyeke umhlaba wethu. And that was a very argumentative song about the land, finding our way back to the land that was stolen through acts of colonization and then the imperialism of apartheid. And so that, for me, was something to be said about this new dispensation. We the people, what is it we call for now? That was the premise of the song. So it starts in a kind of, in a minor, but then looks for the major. So it goes from dark to hopefully lighter. So you've got this leaning forward of and it opens up into this possibility. So the idea of this is about chasing something that brings possibility, finding ways of creating possible futures. So this piece, I titled it Tirenis Kantia, which means train, don't leave me behind. The metaphor of chasing hope, chasing dreams, chasing possibility. Because I see this festival as representing this possibility also, if we engage with it profoundly enough.